Someone's baking in your apartment.
Someone is baking in the apartment. Great.
Oh,
I was afraid of this.
and all the men are going to run in on Chrissy, huh?
Well, it doesn't matter. They gotta get that crap out of there. In fact, it's probably better this way, actually. What happens when he gets there?
Does he open the door?
Is the door not already open? It should be. Those guys should be moving in and stuff in and out.
Here's a question. I have a question for you.
All right.
Does Trissy not have a key to your apartment?
No, she does. She also has her own clothing drawer, her
That's
own
what I
underwear
thought.
drawer, and sometimes they're lying around the place in case of emergencies, along with bed stuff, blah, blah, blah.
That's
Yeah.
you knock on the door, and
I knock on my own door?
you knock. Oh, I'm sorry. You open your door. Sorry, my apologies. You open the door, and you do hear movement from the kitchen, and a head pops out from the kitchen, and it's Otto. And Otto says, "You're back." And at that point, suddenly Trissy comes running out into the other side, and she says, oh my gosh, I was so worried about you." And then she basically wraps her arms around Anar. "I was so scared." She says, "I was calling the police. The police told me that they had no leads yet. I kept calling them. I didn't know what to do. I called all of your friends. Where have you been?" she says.
Anar actually continues holding her, doesn't say anything, and he's actually patting her head a little bit. It sounds like he's crying.
"Anar," she says, "honey, what's wrong? Are you hurt? Are you hurt? Did something happen to you?"
He shushes her for a second. Just let this one enjoy this for a moment.
Apologetically, we do not wish to intrude. We do not wish to intrude, Anar, but Trissy was getting very upset, and when people get upset, he looks down, bake cookies.
Stress cooking.
He actually...
Oh.
Anar doesn't actually hear that.
Oh.
He's elsewhere. He backs up a little bit from Trissy and looks at her, and then he starts to rub his scar a little bit, and then he whites out. When he comes to from the whiteout, he's actually backed in on that floor, injured, surrounded by the bodies and the flames, and he's hearing the murmurs again. He's trying really hard to get up, but he can't. His body is too beaten and blue, and there's blood dripping from a wound on his side. He looks up and he sees a shadow standing in the fire. It looks like a Solarian in a trench with a visor, and he's got a grim look on his face. And he hears it saying in an echoey voice, like, "Pathetic. What did you think Hanar could do?" And then it walks over to Anar and puts a foot on him. "Come on. Did you honestly think you can really do any of the things you sought out to do?" And he squeezes down on his pink body a little bit, and he groans. "Ugh. Come on. Look at this. Look at the mess you made. All the lives lost. Won't give." And then another voice will echo out, that's different. It's like, "He's right, Anar." And he looks over and he sees what looks to be a Quarian, but the visor on the mask is broken, showing one, like, odd-looking, like, half of a face. And a lot of the body of the suit is torn up, revealing a very, like, slender but muscular guy. And he walks forward, he's like, "You couldn't even find me for an entire 6 months. You're losing it, Anar." And he kicks Anar. And he rolls over but doesn't actually go very far, and he groans too. And then another face shows up, and this one's a human. And he's laughing maniacally. And he points down, and he crouches. It's like, I told you were going to die, Hanar. Anar gets really woozy at this, and he points a gun and it's like, listen, she's about to scream.
Oh, shit.
No. Simon says, die. And he points a gun at him, and then Anar hears a scream, and he whites out again. But he doesn't come back to the apartment. When he wakes up, he's actually looking down on the same human that was laughing at him. He's also beaten and heavily bruised, and he's crying. And he's trying to say something, but it's murmurs. It's actually like muted out as if it was underwater. And he's got a pink tentacle wrapped around his neck and a gun pressed to his head with another tentacle around it. Anar is looking down at him and he wants to say something, but he can't get it out. And then he looks up and he sees a woman in a blue dress, heavily beaten and bruised, and she's crying really bad. Her hair is dirty but crimson red, and she's crying, sobbing, but she can't rip her eyes from the scene she sees. Anar tries to speak to her, but nothing comes out. And then he hears a voice that sounds like his own, but he didn't say it, and it said, "Turn away! Turn away now!" The woman jumps at this, scared, but then turns and closes her eyes. And then Anar sees the guy whimpers a bit, and he presses the gun against his head even harder. And he looks up against the woods. "Cover your ears! Don't hear this!" She jumps a little bit and then, slowly shaking, covers her ears. And then the guy cries like, "Please! Don't!" Nar says, "You forgot to say Simon says!" And then he fires.
Damn.
The whiteout ends. And he's standing in front of Trissy again. Trissy knows when this happens. Anar revealed to her a couple months ago that he's suffering from PTSD.
Okay.
And there are times where he's often told her about the nightmares that he relives all over and over again. Sometimes they're of memories, sometimes they're of his own, like, doubts and weaknesses.
Okay.
She would definitely know this just happened.
Okay. She will say, "Honey, here, come to the couch. Come to the couch."
He shakes it off and he says, "No, there's no time." He'll look to Otto, is like, "Sorry, but you probably want to stand off to the side." And he looks back to Trissy. "Trissy, several armed men are going to come into this apartment and they're going to start looting the place. This one will be helping them, and they'll also be accompanied by a blind Solarian. You need to stay out of their way. I can't see you get hurt."
I don't understand.
No,
What?
that he actually said "I." He didn't say this one.
Okay. I don't understand. Trissy looks like
There's
she's
no
at a
time,
loss
and
for words.
he goes over to what looks to be a photo on the wall, and he turns it around and he hits a button.
Okay.
And then the walls start to split apart, revealing an entire wall of guns. And he starts going around, opening up all the different caches. The wine cellar actually opens up, and a picture that looked like there was wine in it, but actually departs, and it shows a lot of weaponry, grenades, all sorts of different crap. And a hidden back room that nobody knows about, even the landlord. In fact, he probably added the room. He's going to call up Cyrus if he doesn't show up in a second.
Yeah, go ahead. You can call him up. Meanwhile, Trissy is dumbfounded. She has never seen, obviously, this before. And Otto
No, she hasn't.
just remains silent. He has a very puzzled look on his face. Are you calling up Cyrus now?
Cyrus.
Yes.
Damn it, Cyrus! Where are you?
We're almost there. I believe the men are coming upstairs to your apartment right this moment.
He listens to hear if they come.
You actually do hear footsteps coming over.
Are you here with them, Cyrus?
Yes, he says, I'm making my way up behind them as well.
Good, see you in a few. And he
All
turns
right.
it off. And he starts to go over to another mantle, and he presses another button, and that pops a stand that is holding a pseudo-leather gun harness. Because, believe it or not, Anar doesn't like hurting animals, so he doesn't like using leather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. Did you also know he's a vegetarian?
Didn't know that.
No, he's a vegetarian. That's why he was so grossed out during the fish scene. Anyways, and on there is also 2 pistols. And he starts to strap on the leather harness. Now this, Trissy has seen, because when they first met, he was also wearing this harness.
Right.
So that's not new. And he's
The-
going to start loading up the weapons with thermals, just in case, as the men would start pouring in.
Yeah. The men start pouring in. Very shady-looking men. Definitely do not look like CSEC officers, which is probably what's making
No, they're
Trissy
extra
very...
clips.
Yeah, which Trissy's looks... Which is making Trissy start questioning things. The look on her face is very... As all these people are coming in, taking, I guess, your weapons out and moving them. Cyrus trails from behind them.
Yes. Also, Anar's going to yell at one of the guys carrying one of the chests, like, if you drop that again, you're going to blow up this entire block. It's filled with incendiary grenades. You do it again, and I'll carry it myself. And he's still saying, he's talking about himself in the first person.
Yes, sir, Mr. Anar, sir. One of the men
No,
say.
sir, just do it.
Cyrus Linux comes in, and he sort of, scans the area. He looks towards Trissy's direction, and he says, "Ah, so you must be Trissy. Or Beatrice." Trissy doesn't respond. He says, "It's all right, we should have everything out of the way quickly." He smells.
Anar
Is that
turns over.
chocolate?
I'm sorry, what?
He smells. Is that cookies I smell? Anar says, "Indeed. He says, chocolate peanut butter." Trissy says she liked baking them, but she didn't feel like making them this time. Chocolate peanut butter. I think I will have some of that. And with that, Cyrus walks over to the kitchen.
Anar is going to turn to Cyrus like, it's about time you showed up.
He says, "Well, no thanks to you. It'd be nice if I had a little bit more, a little bit more advanced notice."
Sorry, but advance notice wasn't exactly in the cards this time. This one actually does truly apologize for that. And he's never talked like that to Cyrus. It wasn't sarcastic whatsoever.
Yeah. But Cyrus doesn't seem to be phased with you yelling and talking him like that.
Just get the men to pile all the weapons crates on the drop ship, whatever you brought with you. We need to bring this to a ship in the docks. I'll give you the location on your Omni tool.
He's chewing one of the chocolate peanut butter cookies. "This is really good," he says, turning to the Anar. "Thank you," he says. "It is my dream to open up a restaurant, proudly." He says, "We're gonna have to keep you around. I'm wondering if I could," he says, I could actually use a good cook on my ship. You might be able to stock my pantries very well, I'm sure." This is the DM hinting and nudging a lot. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
That's great.
So,
Anar is actually going to approach Tristy at this time, and he's going to say, "This one knows you have a lot of questions. I know you have a lot of questions." And that's another first time that he's never said "I" to her.
Right. Tristy says, so you're not a CSEC officer?
Anar actually looks towards the door, and then over to Cyrus. "This one will meet you at the ship shortly. Just make sure they get there. And if you're not there, this one will meet you back here."
Wait, he's telling Tristy to meet him at a ship?
No.
Oh.
Cyrus.
Okay, telling Cyrus to meet him at the ship. Ship? What ship? Oh.
This one just gave you the coordinates.
Right. Ship. All right.
Just take a few extra cookies if you need it.
He says, "Gladly." What is your name?
Go straight to your butt, though.
What is your name, sir? He says respectfully, "Otto." "Otto. I like him," he says. "Keep him around." As for you, he says, a pleasure, my lady, as he sort of waves at Trissy and he leaves.
Nar will look towards Otto as like, he's never been nice to anybody. At least at this one.
Otto says, do you know what they say? The way to a man's heart.
Oh my
Dang
god.
it, David! You drop that case one more time, and this one's gonna rip it out of your hands, throw it out that door, and put it on the ship itself. You're gonna blow this all up.
Sorry.
He's gonna call
Eventually,
out the Cyrus,
everybody.
like, where did you get these guys?
Eventually, all of your equipment has been removed, and the only ones left in the apartment are you, Trissy, and Otto. Who I think Otto is
All right,
now in the kitchen cleaning up.
Nar is actually moving towards the door a little bit, and he looks to Trissy. Can you come with this one for a moment? They will explain in a few moments.
Trissy just silently nods, and from the look of her face, she looks again very confused. She doesn't understand any of this, and she looks a little frightened. She looks a little scared, actually.
He actually moves back to the mech that he exited, because he was actually doing this, normally. And he opened up the cockpit and jumps inside. He closes it, turns the mech around, and opens up the hatch in the back. Jesse will remember riding in this thing a few times.
Right.
And he'll ask, like, it won't be long.
Okay.
And he'll beckon her to hop inside. He actually has an area reserved for her, believe it or not.
Okay. Can I move on to somebody else, or do you need me to continue?
Be my guest. I've been going
Is
on
Sync
a while.
doing anything that I need to know about specifically?
Yeah, so I guess just to kind of explain, I guess whenever they were talking in the conference, he was just kind of going with the motions, like whatever, I don't care. Well, now that he has some time, I guess, by himself in the cockpit, he's just kind of, I guess, recollecting on what's happening, the fact that, his wife, although not his wife, but a version of her still alive. He's just kind of gonna sit and stare out the window for a while, and then he's gonna look down at his chest, and he's gonna be talking to himself like no, don't do it, no, it's not worth it or whatever. So then he'll keep looking down his chest and like shrugging his shoulders. Well, then finally he looks down and he'll put his hand on it like this, and it's like a circle with like lights coming out.
Right, like Iron Man.
Yeah, kind of like that. So he's gonna turn it.
Okay.
And there's a slit down the middle. He's gonna turn it, and then the slit's like sideways like this, and then it looks like a chip is gonna pop out. And looks like a credit card. And when he pulls it out, all the lights go off. Everything, like all the mood lighting and the turquoise lights. And then he's holding this chip in his hand, and he's just like looking at it. He looks at it, and he looks like the AI port. He looks back at the chip, and he just kind of like, he puts the chip back in and turns the thing, and his lights come back on, and he just sits there.
Okay.
And that's all he does.
Let me go back to Arkara. Arkara, there's a knock on your door.
I go to open it.
You open it. And she says, oh my gosh, girl, I'm so sorry I'm late. Do you know what happened on my way over here? She says, this woman, she was taking forever, and a day to order this food. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, she says, I just need to make this order and this one or this order, but in the end, she was able to get through, but that is why I'm late. I completely forgot to bring the chopsticks. Wait, you don't use chopsticks. That's fine. She says,
Calm down, Brittany. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm
been
sorry.
Gone for 2 days. I mean, come on.
I've been freaking out. She says, you have a lot of explaining to do. She starts bringing up the plates and she starts setting the table. He says, you and me, we are going to sit down, we're going to talk, and you are going to explain everything to me. Do you know why you're going to explain everything to me? Because we are best friends and we tell each other everything.
Fine. But I'm not sure you're going to believe me, but... Oh well.
Try me, she says, as she starts scooping out some noodles and she puts the noodles on your plate. I asked for extra meat, just like you always like it.
Thank you. I'm so glad you know what I like.
She says, well, it's my job, she says. If you can't find a man, I have to be taking care of you until for the time being. So please, don't make me do this for the rest of our lives. She says, I know that my lifespan is a lot longer than yours, but honey, if like 50 years from now, you and I are still eating Chinese food together like this, I am going to probably kill myself. No offense, she says.
Don't worry about him, really. I'll figure something out in that time, I suppose.
She starts putting some soy sauce onto her food. All right, spill, she says. The concert, by the way, was amazing, except for this one time, except for the gunshot. Oh yeah, I need to talk to you about that. She says.
Oh really?
Yes, she says. Someone decided to shoot one of the CSEC officers during the middle of the concert, right in the middle of Elias's most famous song. Oh, she says, can you imagine?
I think I can, actually. I do believe I can. But, yeah. It's not as unimaginable as what happened to me, though. Let's just say.
So what happened, she says.
Well, I suppose, have you heard about the whole thing about alternate universes and that kind of stuff?
Okay, you just lost me. What?
Yes. And there you go.
Oh, man.
You wouldn't believe me. Let's just say I popped over into another universe and I've been there for a few days.
Oh my gosh. That has got to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, she says.
Yeah, see, I told you so. You wouldn't believe me, so...
No, seriously, that's the explanation you're going to give me? That's really the explanation?
Yeah, because it's true.
Roll a persuasion.
That is perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's perception.
Oh, this is gonna be shit. Yeah, no.
Okay, she says, all right. I too can play this game. So, Arkara, if you jumped into another universe, she says, then I'm getting a sex change, she says. Two can play this game.
No, actually.
Yeah, you know, she says, it's something that I've always thought about, you know. She's saying this completely sarcastically. Like, completely sarcastically, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
About that!
well, what did you know?
Here's a picture of you as a guy.
Totally bring that up.
Well, she doesn't have to imagine it.
Well, let's just say I could potentially prove it to you, but I'm not sure that I should.
All right, she says, now you've got me curious.
Seeing is believing.
Is this? She says, don't tell me that you're making all of this up just to get away from some twisted way of getting out of dating. All right, I'm about to delete your account from Chromance if that's what you want me to do.
Thank you, because I don't think that's the place for me. But
right, fair enough.
But it is not my way of getting out of that. Trust me. I couldn't make this up even if I tried.
Okay, so let's hypothetically say that you've spent your last 2 days in some alternate universe or whatever. How exactly do you intend on proving it to me?
Let's just say I kind of met you, another you.
Oh, another me. All right.
Yes.
Probably not as pretty as me, I'm sure.
Depends on who you're asking.
So what did this other me say to you?
Well, he seemed rather bewildered, let's just say.
I beg your pardon? He seemed...
Oh yeah, that's another part. That, about the sex change. Let's just say this is complicated, okay? I don't even know. No, I don't even know. But I know it's another you. I recognize.
It's another me, and I am a dude.
As of yesterday, apparently, yes.
It would have been more shocking if she just met him.
Right.
And
Right.
let's just say he is in the Citadel's landing bay at the moment.
She looks very unconvinced. She folds her arms and says, "Honey, I will believe it when I see it."
Then I guess you will just have to come to the ship with me at some point.
Maybe I should, she says.
Oh no.
Well, it could be an interesting meeting, I guess. So, yeah.
Alright, I'll play along for right now, she says. But if this ends up being one big giant hoax, she says, you owe me big time, dear.
Of course. I owe you for treating me to dinner anyway.
Well, you're welcome, she says.
Thank you.
You'll continue having your dinner. Meanwhile, I guess we're going back to Cicepia. Cicepia, you're going to the CSEC office. Are you... So at the CSEC office, are you just strolling in, knowing that everyone thinks you're dead? Are you just... good? Like, how are you doing this?
I hadn't thought of how she's gonna get in.
Well, I did give you that data disk. You might need to use that.
Yeah. Yep, I'll just go straight in then.
You'll just walk right in? Alright. Yeah. You'll walk right in, and...
Next turn.
You go in, and all of a sudden... So the secretary, if you remember from this previous episode, the secretary is at the front desk, and she's eating potato chips. And as soon as you come in, she drops the bag of potato chips, and her face turns white, like she's seen a ghost. And she's staring at you. Officer Altus?
If you don't mind, I've got a couple files I need to look into. Do you mind if I get by?
You're supposed to be dead, she says.
Long story. But anyways, would I be able to get going?
Sure.
Anyway.
Go ahead. As soon as you leave, you see her pick up the phone and she starts dialing someone. You can probably deduce who she's dialing. So where are you going? Are you going to your office? Or are you going to...
Alright, what I wanted her to do was, again, she wanted to do that background check on Anar and Arkara to kind of like, you know, get some information on them, so get an idea of if they are going to be up in the up and up.
You are on your way to your office when you pass by a door that has your name on it. But it's not the desk that you are used to in either the blue or the green universe.
I walk in.
You walk in, and it's a much smaller room, with fairly poor furnishings. It looks like the kind of room that a rookie cop would be using, like someone who hasn't been in the force for very long. Yeah, I mean, there's a computer there that you can sit down in and look up stuff. What are you looking up again?
Kind of like the criminal background Anar and Arkara. Just kind of again saying the see
Criminal
what they're-
background on Anar.
I'd be surprised if you find anything.
I don't think you're gonna find anything.
Okay.
You'll find out Anar does exist.
Mhm.
There doesn't seem to be anything specifically on his record that you notice.
Mhm. Okay.
However,
That's good.
with Arkara, it doesn't seem like there's any record of her ever existing.
Now that's a contradiction right there.
Mm-hmm. That's
So-
interesting. So far, Arkara has not seemed to exist in any of the 3 universes.
How'd you pass the background check for your apartment?
Really?
Meridi was the one who said it helped her set it up for her. So
This just raises even more questions.
I'm sure it does.
I wonder if that doesn't even rule her out then for my universe then, because she's got to be in his universe. All right.
She's got to be in some universe.
And she said this was her home universe.
Alright. I'm curious now, okay. Now, since I'm dead, I wonder if they've got the autopsy room. Try to check out my body.
All right.
Creepy.
I'm
You're
trying
gonna
to
go
do this
down-
as speedily as
you'll
possible.
have access. You'll move very quickly. You'll go into the the room, and there is you go into the autopsy room, and as awkward as this probably is, you find yourself when you pull up a shroud of a body there, face to face with your dead corpse. There appears to be a bullet wound, or it's energy weapons, but there appears to be a wound right smack in the center of the forehead, of your forehead.
Yeah, train shot. Should I do a perception, see if I able to find out specifically what kind of firearm fired it off?
Wouldn't there be
Probably
an autopsy report right there?
Yeah, there would be an autopsy report.
Oh, sweet. Okay, reading the
Yeah,
autopsy report.
basically it tells you the time of death. They believe the form was from a
Trajectory.
sniper rifle of this make and model. Probably can determine. I think they might be able to determine that. Sniper rifle of this make and model, and that's
Fired
all
from above.
correct.
Sniper rifle.
Yep.
I wonder if I know anyone who was up above.
Roll a knowledge. Roll another knowledge roll.
This one has got to be a lot easier then, though.
Yeah, this will be easier. Yeah, I will say you're starting to put 2 and 2 together. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That bitch.
Chess pieces. Chess pieces.
Love it.
Oh, this is gonna
It's
be
all the
amazing.
DM's fault. I'm sorry. Anyway,
This is brilliant.
It's amazing. I love it.
you can kind of see what I've been setting up the whole time, and it's just session 3.
Yeah.
And we know that there's more coming. More coming.
Especially if you watch the other squads. So,
Alright.
for all
Leave
you
the
know,
file.
there's more that went. There's more that went, for all you know. So, let's go back to, let's go back to Anar. So, Anar, what's happening now?
I know I made it seem like he was bringing her to the ship, but I'm going to streamline this a bit.
Sure.
I'm going to roleplay the important part and then streamline the rest.
Yes.
He actually took her to a very special spot that he only took her twice before.
Okay.
And because I don't have time to explain, just believe that they are actually standing on top of Citadel Tower,
Okay.
in the very middle of the entire Citadel.
Okay.
He brought her here before to watch the entire fleet honor the dead during the Reaper Wars,
Okay.
and this was one of their date sites.
Okay.
At
Got
this
it.
point, she is lying on her side, in his chair, because he actually opened the shaft and is now
Okay.
curled up on the edge on his back with all his tentacles folded on his stomach, looking out. And I
Okay.
imagine Trissy's looking very confused.
She's looking very confused and kind of a little scared, to be honest. Because you haven't explained. She's been silent the whole time. I don't think you've said anything to her the whole trip
Same
there.
was Anar.
Mm-hmm.
Anar will say, "This will be the last time we get to see this, most likely."
What are you saying exactly?
Without looking at her, he'll say, "Before this one explains everything, have you ever been married before?"
She says, she shakes her head. No. I
Anar was
haven't.
actually
She
upset.
says I hadn't found. I had not found the right person yet. She said had not. That's not imply that. Yeah, you know what she meant.
I know.
You know what she meant. Had not.
He actually takes a deep breath in and expels. Those men back there, they are ex-Eclipse from the Terminus systems. They have a base here on the Citadel that remains underground. They may look shady looking, but they're actually not bad people. They're just looking for a new start. Their commander, the one with the visor and apparently loves cookies, he is their commander. He's also ex-Eclipse. And then he looks at her and says, "As is this one."
So
that night. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
She says, "So you've been lying to me this whole time."
He shrugs and says,
"Oh no, you don't."
He shrugs a little bit and says, "Not necessarily. This one just elaborated on your believing this one was Cicepia. It was afraid that you might not speak to it again if you knew what it was. But there's still more to the story. That night, when this one found you, do you remember it?"
I try not to, but sometimes at night I wake up to a nightmare from it. Yes.
This one remembers all the laughs we actually had when we weren't knee-deep in blood and gunfire. Even when we were hanging out in that empty elevator shaft and that terrorist was trying to cut the cord at the top. He is now rubbing the scar on his side. He immediately has like an immediate flashback to the gunshot into the guy's head. And then he shakes out of it. That night, this one was not with the CSEC. It was not acting under orders. This one had received information. Do you remember me telling you of Chris?
She said, "Yeah, he's your best friend."
Yeah. This one learned that this man was the one who took him. And apparently sold him to someone who hired him for the job. This one has yet to track him down. When this one infiltrated the wards looking for him, he already had you in his grips and used you as a shield. This one could not let you become hurt. So this one made sure to save you, but it also had its own agenda to find out who he sold him to. Of course, he knew nothing, and this one was at another dead end. When you came to me afterwards and mentioned that this one was CSEC, I must admit, I didn't want you to stop thinking that. I didn't want you to go away. Aside from you, and now apparently Otto, Cyrus is all this one has left. We're outsiders. We band together. We're just looking for a new start. When this one realized how wrong everything was happening in the eclipse, it tried to escape. On the way out, this one found Cyrus nearly half dead and dragged him off the planet. At that time, he actually wasn't even blind. This one took orders from him. He was this one's commander. He called all the shots, and he was cruel. Very cruel. The screams from his torture rooms were devastating. But when this one found him half dead, he was talking in gibberish about... Apparently he was talking about some girl that was on fire. He didn't say anything else besides that. He was going in and out. This one dragged him off that planet alive, and we've been working together ever since, even when he donned that visor. We may look like we bicker a lot, but he's one of the only friends this one can count on. Yes, this one is a criminal. And he looks out towards the open air, and a murderer.
She just nods and takes all of that in.
This one's been seeking redemption. A redemption. And then he looks over to the picture of Chris on his dashboard and picks it up. This one needed to find his friend. And then he looks over to Trissy and says, he and you were this one's redemption. But now things have changed. And you'll let that sink in for a moment. At that moment, to save time, he'll explain everything that's happened to the best of his abilities, and knowing that she'll be very confused, but he feels that all lies should be out the window now and that only the truth should remain. He won't tell her about Sync just yet, though.
Okay.
He wants everything else to sink in on what he has to do.
Roll.
He's going...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead, he's going...
He just wants her to make sure that he's letting all this out.
Yes.
Because he's afraid he'll never come back, at least alive.
Roll probably the most important persuasion you're going to make in a long time.
Oh, great.
It's probably the most important persuasion.
You can use a Paragon or Renegade point if you want to boost it by 15.
That's true. You have a Renegade and Paragon point to boost it to plus 15.
I may have to spend it, but let's see what happens.
See what happens.
Oh, crap. Ignore that. Ignore that. I'm sorry, I've been really lazy.
I need to go and roll 20 so I can actually see the rolls.
This up. I think it's still plus 6. Okay, I'm going to roll now. 17.
Are you happy with that?
I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to risk it. I'm spending a Paragon point because he's coming from the heart.
Okay.
Word.
It's probably a smart thing to do.
Nice.
Where is that pen? You know,
Trissy thinks for a moment, and she takes Anar by the hand.
Tentacle.
Sure, by the tentacle. That's why I said hand. And then she says, "Thank you for telling me the truth," she says.
He'll look at her and say, "No more lies. No more secrets. You know what this one is. It's up to you whether you want to remain or not. However, you must know that this one might not come back."
She says, "I don't fully understand what you're doing, where you're going, what's going to happen," she says. "But we will definitely talk about it when you come back more thoroughly then."
He says, "Well, that settles that then." And he'll start getting everything ready to go, and he'll also say, "It's time to be a hero for once." And then he'll go off to, do I want to drop her off or bring her to the ship? No, I should bring her to the ship, despite the Sync thing. She needs to see it.
Mm.
Okay.
She needs to see everybody.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Handle the sync thing as it comes.
Looking forward to that interaction.
Cicepia, are you doing anything else at the office before at the precinct before?
No, I got everything that I needed, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of... The secretary is going to be making the phone call, so I got to get out of there.
You fortunately
I'm getting out of there quick.
you are able to do this very quickly. That you get out before stuff hits the fan at the office.
Oh,
back on the ship.
Oh, I'm sorry. On the way, Anar is going to warn her that someone may act hostile towards him at the side of her, but he won't dive into too many details, just not to confuse her. So even more than he already has. I figured I should say that.
Arkara,
please.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Arkara,
No, continue.
Arkara, during dinner with Meridi, you get a phone call.
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Arkara, darling, she says, I've been trying to get in contact with you. You didn't show up at the casino the other day. Did you not receive my email?
I was a little bit busy. I'm sorry about that. I was going to get back to you, but...
I understand, dear. Well, I just wanted to inform you that because of your successful assassination, we have transferred 100,000 credits directly onto your account.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Cha-ching.
I think that covers your Omni tool and then some.
Let's just hope me walking around doesn't ruin everything.
Don't spend it all in one place, darling. I will be in touch if I have more work for you.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Ta-ta. And she hangs up.
Ugh.
Who is that?
And then they get reports of a live Cicepia Altus running around the Citadel.
Who is that, Meridi says?
This is repeated. Officer Altus is alive.
It's just a contact of mine. Don't worry about it.
Wow, Elias has barely done anything like in these two universes. Just hatched along.
I needed
so
to
sorry.
I needed to catch up because Elias has done a lot in the last 2 episodes. So I needed more.
Yeah.
I needed more sync and I needed more Arkara in this episode. And Cicepia had a good amount of stage time. So I'm trying to purposely balance. I don't mean to put Elias aside. It's just I'm trying to get everything.
Well,
back in
Elias
balance
wouldn't
again.
be doing very much
Yeah.
in these two universes anyway. He's going to
the
do
green
more when he
universe.
gets back to green. So that's completely understandable.
Arkara and Meridi arrive at the ship, and Meridi says, "This is a pretty impressive looking ship." She says.
Yeah, it's a nice ride.
You guys go up the staircase, and Meridi. Let me put her up there. Meridi comes up right when Drimmy turns the corner, and then. As soon as their eyes lock on each other, the two of them, Meridi says, "Oh," Drimmy says, "My," and both of them say at the same time, "Goddess," at the same time.
There you go. Do you believe me now?
The two, are, again, without breaking eye contact, they get closer to each other, and then they start circling around. Again, not breaking eye contact. And then they
I'm filming this.
one raises the arm while the other raises the arm, and then the other one raises the other arm, and then they both look to the side, and then they start going like this at the same time, at the exact same time. And she says, they both say, "No way, you're thinking what I'm thinking." They say at the same. They're saying all this in unison. That's so freaky. The both of them say at the same time. What number am I thinking? 7. They both say at the same time. She turns to Arkara. Meridi turns to Arkara and says, "Girl, I need to sit down." And Drimmy turns to Sync and says, "Bro, I need a drink."
You know where to find it.
I think we all need a drink.
At this point, Anar comes up the steps, and Trissy enters into the ship. Trissy, and Sync.
Is everybody in view at the moment? Because Anar will probably point out who they are.
I'm sorry? Is everyone in view?
Yeah, are they in view?
I guess they're in view. Trissy and Anar are in view. Yeah, I guess.
Everyone's in the room.
Everyone's in the room.
Okay. Then Anar will start pointing at each of them, explaining who they are, and then leave Elias for last. And then he'll announce she knows everything, but she needs to be reassured who you are. Isn't that right, Doctor?
This whole time, like, so she kind of disappeared. He's like backs up and kind of like circles around the room, like flabbergasted and just doesn't know what the hell to say. He's just kind of like looking at her like awestruck. And his colors are kind of going all over the place. And he's just kind of like talking to himself.
He does this all the time. It's okay.
Anar, being the gentleman he is sometimes, he'll look to her and says, "The Doctor recognizes you from another universe." And then he'll turn towards him. "This is why I asked if you were married."
Ah.
And I did say I. He's getting used to saying it now.
And then I'll kind of stutter, I guess, and Trissy, I need to talk to you.
And while he's not. Oh wait, was that to me or?
That was to Trissy, actually.
Before he does that, actually, can I say something real quick?
Okay.
This is a show of good faith, Doctor, that perhaps we can work together in the future. This is your chance to see if she's happy or not.
He heard that,
and then
he's not going to acknowledge. He's just going to be too.
That's
like,
fine.
I don't know.
And then she'll turn to Trissy. He'll probably want to speak to you.
Sure.
Okay. And then
Trissy goes over to Sink and she says, "So you're the captain of this ship," she says. "Dylan, she is just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than when you remembered her."
He's probably
beautiful.
He's gonna go to try to like touch and like I guess slide his hand across her face, but then he's gonna stop. Like midway, like he's going to do it.
Anar is gonna tense at that.
Yeah.
And then he's
What
gonna,
you can't see is that he's
I don't think
actually
Trissy
rubbing
notices.
a pistol.
I don't think Trissy notices. I don't think she's realizing anything.
And then again, I need to speak with you in private.
Sure, she says.
Okay, and then
Is there someone, if what Anar is saying is true, is there someone like you in this universe? You seem very familiar to me, she says.
Dead.
I don't really know. I don't think I'm alive here.
Oh, I'm sorry, she says.
It's fine. Out of character, can I lead her to the room over here?
Yeah, so you guys can talk.
I just didn't know. I was trying to speed this up. I know
Yeah.
we're getting close to the.
You will start to lead her towards that room, and I'll end the session there. Because I'm horrible. So yeah, a lot has happened. There's a lot of great RPing today, guys. Bravo. A lot of role playing. We didn't quite get through everything I wanted to do, but it's okay because I think everything that we did was very valuable. I think my favorite was definitely Drimmy and Meridi, male Meridian and female Meridian.
That was awesome.
It's going to be, yeah, I was
going to have
really
5
cool.
million extranet hits within a couple of days.
Well, with Meridi, I knew that I wanted Meridi to be a part of the ship, but then there came into the whole problem, well, one Meridi is in one universe and the other one Meridi was in the other universe, because when I was originally designing your origin stories, I was going to have both Arkara and Sync in the same universe, so that they could share the same Meridi. But then I had to change some things around because of story to put them in 2 separate universes, so I had to have 2 separate Meridis, and I'm like, well, which Meridi is going to end up in the unless I did. So yeah.
That's pretty. I did not see that coming at all.
Because I figured I didn't want to put 2 Meridis like on the ship together, because I was like, it's gonna get confusing and they don't have different enough personalities and they're not gonna be like, you won't be able to tell the 2 apart. And I was like, unless so
Perfect turn of events.
I'll have to deal with Cyrus in the next episode. Then.
Yeah, we'll deal with Cyrus in the next.
Oh,
episode.
how am I gonna get Otto on the ship now?
Did you ask
Crap.
Otto to come to see the ship? Or you can.
No.
You can
Otto was
call
probably
him.
still standing
You
You
there
can probably
with
call him.
everything.
I think
Should I
Cyrus.
go now?
Knowing Cyrus, he'll probably be
There's
like,
nothing in this
"This
universe.
ship." Knowing Cyrus, he'll probably be like, "This ship needs a cook."
I can still contact him on Chrome, man.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Really
can see the
haven't shut it
scene
down
where.
yet.
Oh, I want to see the scene where Arkara, goes to Meridy and says, "So, Meridy, can I log into my account real quick
How did
before you delete it? Can I log in for a moment before you delete it?"
And then she's bouncing back and forward on the bed, typing. Ooh, yay! Giggling with
Obviously, with like the door locked, no one could see this, and then when she's down, she's all
No one's
when she
allowed to
gets
see my shame.
No one sees what Arkara does when she's alone, so.
I don't know. I saw the
Oh.
videos.
Dylan, no hard feelings.
And it's
by
not
the way.
gutter stuff. Trust me.
It's just all in character, I swear, buddy.